Hey guys, welcome back. Hat Tuesday number 16. Hat Tuesday number 16. Trying to stay a little festive here on the eve of Christmas Eve. It's good to be back again. I'm a broken record. I'm going to say it again. It just feels like I've been away for a long time. I know I was here Friday, right? I was here Friday. I did a Fedora Friday. Um, but I guess I'm just still getting back into the swing of things. So hopefully you guys will indulge me as I try to get back into the swing of things. I'm getting in the Christmas spirit. I mean, I've been in the Christmas spirit, but I just now it just dawned on me like, wow. A lot of folks will, they celebrate Christmas Eve, might as well be Christmas. If that's your case, then it's really right upon you, right? I kind of just celebrate the whole week, honestly, to be honest. I think I kind of get in this mood right at the beginning of the week. It all depends on when Christmas falls. But ultimately, I start getting really reflective, kind of reflecting on the year, right? That's something that I mentioned before about like, that's one of the things I like doing. I like doing that at all points of the year, right? Especially when I'm out doing my walks, right? It's a little colder now. It's a little harder to do my walks, but doesn't mean I can't get reflective, right? I mean, you guys gotta let me know if that's something that you guys do as well. I just kind of when I get to this mode, right? Obviously, it's towards the end of the year, right? We only got another few more days, and it will be in 2026 already, right? It's wild. It's wild how time flies, and I think as the older you get, that's one of those cruel ironies that the older you get, the more time flies. We got my main man, Josh. Josh, how you doing? Merry Christmas Eve, I guess. Right? I'm going to say that. Man, it's just good to have my base here, right? Like, I got so many folks that I'm thankful for, and I'll see if anybody else trickles in. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, right? Like this channel started, in August, right? I think my first stream was on August 4th. Right. So it's a little bit over. Oh, hey, we got my main man, Paul. Paul, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve. I mean, however, you guys are a little bit closer to Christmas than we are.
Yeah, I mean it's the evening of the evening before Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
if you can get that. I mean, it's what's the time now? It's 7 o'clock over here. 7 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. So lovely Christmas hat, by the way. You got on there,
my friend.
Really, that's the one you remember the story. You remember the story where I was bidding for that one or going to buy it, and I think you bought it.
That's right.
I think that was the one. I'm not sure, but I think that's the one.
I remember now that I honestly that slipped my mind until you just reminded me of that story, and that's wild. I mean, again, we got Josh.
Hey,
Josh, how's it
going?
Hey.
A Christmas miracle, Josh. Like I said, Josh is somebody that we've I've invited, and obviously Josh had reasons for for not being able to be on camera. I'm glad it worked out for today, Josh. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem.
I'm taking a little bit of a lunch right now. Just doing a quick adjustment.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. And like I said, you guys all know the format. If you need to go, obviously we're approaching the holidays. A lot of folks have family over, or you're over at some family members. I know how that works. So definitely don't feel shy about needing to go. I want, not that I want you to go, but I want you to be with family if that's especially if that's the pull. And obviously some of us are probably still working. Don't sweat it. Like I said, I'm just happy that you guys joined us. I was just talking about like this is a time of year where I get very reflective. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's a function of just my age and kind of where I'm at in life. I've always been that way, but I feel like every year gets a little bit more thoughtful. I think a lot more of my priorities change. A lot more of what worries me changes, to be honest. For me, now that I've gotten to travel, right? Obviously, I just came off on a tremendous trip. Thanks.
I have to go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Someone's come up at the office.
No worries, Josh. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Josh. Yeah, I think you're right. I must admit that there is a reflective time of the year. It
Yeah.
is a time when you know, we lost some family members years and years ago, and I think also you know, as I said to you, in the UK we have a retirement age of 66 years. I don't know whether that's the same in America, but that's my official birthday, which happened, when was it, on the 21st, so just a couple of days back. So
Yeah.
it's a time to think, you know, what do you want to do with your life? And you, I guess you do plan for it leading up to it, and you sort of think, well, that's part of my hat journey, was thinking, I want to do something that my body will allow me to do, my mind will allow me to do, that will keep me active. And you know what, part of it was I wanted to meet people that had a bit of a hobby, also you know, liked buying what I was making and so on. I never knew that it was going to work or not, but reflecting on this last year in particular, where we've hooked up, and a few others like Ian and so on, we've hooked up.
Yeah,
it's been great. You know, if this can get better for another year, and I'm sure that you know, my wife keeps telling me that you know, your YouTube members will grow, you know, exponentially when you hit a certain number. When you hit a certain number, it starts rolling more and more. I think we saw that with Kevin actually when he was building up his channel. So you know, I'm on a journey, and I think reflecting back at this year, it's been great to share it with people like yourselves.
Yeah, Paul, I echo that sentiment. Again, you know, Ian as well. You know, I had a lovely dinner with him that Friday. So I believe we hung out Thursday, but the very next evening I went out to dinner with him, and wow, what a tremendous, you know, I mean, I think anybody that knows Ian, I know he hasn't appeared a lot here, but you kind of seen him in the comments here, just like Josh, you know, but he just lights up a room with his presence. And then obviously just a tremendously knowledgeable fellow. And I feel like spoiled to be surrounded with the company that I have been surrounded with since I started this channel, you know, and you know, that's Morgan, that's Ian, that's yourself, Paul, that's Brian Forbes, Robert Galt, Josh, wow, I better not forget Brad,
Brad.
Steve Heck. We've had tremendous blessings in terms of, like, I'm going to call it just board members, right? Even though not everybody's part of like the official chat group, because not everybody's on Facebook, but I consider all you guys, you know, and maybe board members is just too cold of a term, because you guys really are friends. And I consider you guys just, you know, it's not more than just advisors or just, you know, co-owners of this channel. You guys really are friends. And I've managed to kind of cultivate relationships individually, and then obviously as a group, and it's just been very fulfilling. So, you know, I know that we didn't reach that 100 mark yet, but we're at 75 right now. I feel like this channel has been such a huge success for so many reasons, other than subscriber count. Like for me, trust me, I still do want to strive for a bigger subscriber count, but 2025 has been such a blessing. And Paul, it sounds like it's been similar for you, and I'm really thankful for that.
Well, you know, I think we've been on a similar journey. I think the thing for me was when you do get a bit older, you know, and you're not so aggressive or hungry for success.
Right.
You actually want to do things for a different reason. And you know, my reasons, as I've shared before, is partly I wanted to find out what I could actually do that was different to what I've done in my career, and also to actually set myself a small goal of a certain amount of money each month to make from hat making, and actually to plow the rest of the money back into hat making, either buying equipment. As I said, my wife and I are looking to move house, so I can put a unit in the garden and have a particular hat shop and do all the things that I want to do, and sort of reinvest in trying, look, in a very, very small way. I appreciate this of trying to keep the hat making skills and heritage alive. And it's, you know, there are a lot more skilled people than me out there, but maybe, you know, I've got other skills in marketing or in business and so on that might be able to help to keep the whole thing going. And over here in the UK, you know, we don't have any more than about I'm told about 30 or 40 hatters at the most.
Wow.
You know, we have milliners, of which obviously they look after the ladies' side, and I'm told that there's about 300 or 400 milliners, and maybe even more than that, but certainly hatters there aren't that many. So you know, what do we want to do? Do we want to let it go? No, of course not. I mean, you know, what was really nice when we went around to, and forgive me because I've not been able to make the channel because of the run up to Christmas being busy, but when we went round to London, you know, we were in with Hilditch and Kay, remember, with Bates and Co.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they've reached out to me, and I'm going to catch up with them after Christmas, and we're going to talk about how we can get some form of relationship to me, perhaps selling some of their hats on my website and things.
Yeah.
And you know, that's wow, that was really an honor, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the other stuff that we did, we just had a great time hanging out. I mean, it was just like three guys of a certain age that we just enjoyed the day, let it flow, and yeah, it was good. I'd love to know the story with Lock and Co. If you haven't told it already, or if I don't want to, I understand. But I know you said that the hat that I passed on to you was a little small. I realise now, and that you went down there, and they seem to look after you.
That just tickled me because so I go down there, so I get up in the morning. I'm trying to remember now what morning this was because like
it would have been Friday morning,
like blurred, you know. But you know, obviously it must have been after Thursday because Thursday is when we meet up, and you gave me the hat. So I'm gonna say this was Friday morning. So the day after, so I guess I met with Ian for dinner that evening. So I took a walk. You know, I looked it up. I felt comfortable making that walk from the hotel or the hostel, and I get there pretty early. And Paul, sure enough, Paul is there. Paul, the
historian guy.
Exactly. Man, I got to get that guy. We got to get this guy on here because he's just.
Oh yeah,
isn't he amazing?
There was you, me, and that gentleman who was the CEO of the Diamond Company. I think it was. I mean, it was like, who would have thought? You know, there was us. Chancers, basically, and a gentleman there. I mean, that was a story in itself, wasn't it? What he was asking for, but anyway,
exactly. I completely agree. And then Josh says, "Love the colors by the hats." By the way, yes, thank you. We're trying to keep it festive. You know, I think Paul and I did not coordinate this, but I know Paul's a fan of green, so this wasn't much of a stretch for me. This hat, I mean, it was between this one and the snowflake hat from Brian Forbes. So I'll have to kind of maybe the next stream I'll wear that one because I feel like those are my festive Christmassy hats. But yeah, when I get there in the morning, Paul's helping a customer out, but he recognizes me right away, shakes my hand, and then just immediately just tries to flag some more personnel to kind of come help me. And so I appreciated that, you know, and I told him, I said, please just take care of the young lady that he was serving. And another young lady who I met, I just couldn't remember her name. We met her right when we first arrived at Lock & Co. But her name is escaping me. But she assisted me. And on top of that, she flagged when I wanted to, because I was wearing the brown Lock & Co. that I got from you. Remember, I went in with the black one to get it dated by Paul. Paul was occupied, but there was another gentleman there that had knowledge, and he offered to date that hat. And I think he said it was about the 70s to 80s. What he mentioned. So I was like, okay, good. Thank you so much. And then, you know, he told me about the crest and how that's how he told, you know, so I wanted to kind of know what the process was because my dating, since these were my first Lock & Co's, I didn't have the knowledge to go do the research at that point. You know, I didn't have, you know, my Wi-Fi access was a little spotty, but so basically she was helping me. I told her, I said, I already looked up that they offer the service as hat stretching. I figured, okay, the night before we didn't have a chance to I didn't purchase anything. I figure at least let them stretch this hat out. That way I can give them a few pounds, and then I can say I got served by Lock & Co. Right?
Well, they were good to us the night before, weren't they? I mean, I don't know how many glasses of bubbly you had, but I know how many I had, and I think we did. They looked after us very well, which was very much
Yes,
appreciated.
they did. And
Yeah.
not once did we get it like an awkward eye, because I mean we were helping ourselves. I was a little gun shy, but then when I saw the reactions of how they were kind of just kept it pouring, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna avail myself, because I was just having such a great time. I felt so relaxing at home.
Yeah.
That was what the other thing. I felt very much like I did when I went to Steve Goldstein's shop in Brooklyn. It felt like it was another hat church. Like I felt the history. So. Yeah. I could feel the history, and I could feel the reverence. You know, and again, I could just be projecting on myself, you know, my own feelings, but I felt like people carried themselves a little differently, a little taller, very much like people do, or at least I always described about when one wears a fine hat. You kind of just want to be a little bit more polite, a little more dignified. And it really did feel such, especially when we went out to the back room and Paul explained everything. That was tremendous.
I think it's more a vocation working there than a job. You know, when you talk to those people, I talked to the marketing lady there, and there was Maxwell, who's the shop manager. And then there was the other gentleman, the tall gentleman with glasses that was the master hatter. He's fabulous. You know, he's got his own YouTube and things. And they're just great, and it's just lovely to know that they are as open as they are, and supportive. So how did you? Because of course it wasn't a Lock and Co hat that you wanted.
No, and that's the other trepidation. I was like, well, nothing on the website indicated that it had to be a Lock and Co, but I just assumed I was prepared for them to tell me, sorry, we don't touch anything. It was a Borsellino. You know, it was definitely a fine hat, but it wasn't one of their own. But she was like, oh yeah, sure, we can absolutely do that for you. And then she described kind of like at least give it a day. You know, she asked me how long I was in town. I mentioned I could probably wait till Monday if needed. But she said, well, what you can do is you can give us a call tomorrow, and then we can check up on it for you. But I never did that. I'll be honest. I just wanted to have an excuse to go back there. So sure enough, I got up early in the morning, probably around the same time on Saturday. And I went right to Lock and Co. And she wasn't there, but the gentleman that was there essentially you know, asked me for, you know, what hat it was. I basically explained, and then sure enough, got my hat. It was still a little moist, and I don't know, because I've never stretched a hat before. You could still feel the moisture, and but you know, I was so anxious. I put it on, it fit great, and I was so happy that it was ready that I'm not gonna give it back. I was gonna wear that hat. So sure enough, I put the hat on. I anticipated that it was gonna be done, so I went and I brought my flat cap with me. I immediately put my flat cap away, and I wore the Borsellino all that whole day. And then here's the kicker. The kicker was, you know, I go check out to pay, and the lady that was assisting me asked over. I guess she asked over to what appeared to be a manager. Again, I'm bad with names. I believe I saw him the night before.
Is he the guy with the beret? With the beret on?
No, he was a taller gentleman.
Was he? Okay.
He was a tall, very slender gentleman. Maybe we didn't see him the night before.
No, okay.
But I didn't have a name. I mean, I remember Paul right away, because I mean, who could forget a guy like that? But essentially she motioned and said, what's you know, is this, because I mentioned I haven't paid yet. She went and motioned to her manager and said, you know, what do we charge? And then he looks over at me, he says, well, he's a valued customer, so no charge.
Wow.
I was about to go hug the guy.
I mean, that's just Britishness in its way, isn't it? You know, a way of acknowledging mutual sort of interest and respect, and that was a very nice token.
And I, you know, I obviously had not shopped there. I was there the night before. There's no way, you know, and I don't know. I kind of stand out sometimes. So I'm like, there's no way that he mistook me for somebody else. I think this was kind of just like you mentioned, Paul, like it's just the way the customer service that they provide, you know, and it really does, you know, I've talked about this before about Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, that people rise to the level of expectations that you set for them. And I feel like Lock & Co gets it, meaning it works both ways, right? I mean, in terms of customer to the customer to the organization to the customer, it's reciprocal. And I felt like that was their way of setting expectations of what kind of experience you're going to get at Lock & Co. And I'm telling you, I will never forget that.
Yeah. I think myself, since the visit, I've put out a couple of videos on Lock & Co hats. I think, and I again just reiterated how welcoming they are, and they were on that occasion. And I think, look, if we can help people get into a second-hand Lock & Co hat, because the entry level, buying a new one at £300, £400, it's a lot of money for many people.
Right.
But buying one, you know, I sell them for around £100 to £150.
Right.
Now that's a much more manageable level. And to be frank, a lot of the second-hand hats aren't really worn that much. You know, they come up really well with the steaming and the cleaning and the resizing, and they make a very, very good entry level hat. Now, if you've got one and you really enjoy it, that's when, if you're looking for another one, that you'll stay with the Lock & Co brand. And I think that's when they get a brand new customer. So I think there is a place in the marketplace for people like myself and others that refurbish and sell these branded hats. And look, it's a form of recycling things in such a way that, I mean, it's just fantastic. You know, it's just lovely to do. And you know, today I was doing I don't know, we've got it here actually. Oh, here it is. I was doing another. This is a Christie's.
Oh wow!
A Christie's,
I love that lining.
You know, Homburg. Yeah. You know, it's nice. It's okay, but you know, the leather is not as good as Lock & Co by any stretch. But this is probably a third of the price of a Lock & Co hat. You know, but when you compare that to you know, this older classic, you know, the actual felt is so much better. It's lighter. The finish inside is just gorgeous in the classic, you know, and it's an experience just to get 2 or 3 of the hats together and look at the different construction methods and things.
Right.
But anyway, put those back there.
Oh, Paul, I'll tell you that I think you hit the nail right on the head in terms of, you know, the allure of the vintage, you know, of the vintage market. And obviously, you know, not everybody, like obviously somebody like Morgan, whose head size is on the larger end, they're going to have a tough go at it on the vintage market. But it doesn't mean it's impossible, meaning it just means that you might need to be more amenable to things like stretching, right? Within reason, right? Because there are limits to how much you can stretch, you know, any given hat. But it really does, like, if you're able to be comfortable making some of those minor modifications, one could still be okay on the vintage market. And again, you would get access to a quality of hat that would otherwise not be attainable if you were to buy straight new.
Totally agree. I mean, you look at did you read the words that I sent over with that hat? Did you read about that Borsellino? Yes. I mean, I was amazed. I mean, I bought that Borsellino. Now I want to say vintage, which is I don't know whether you have vintage in the US. I don't know, but vintage like a flea market, like eBay.
No, we don't have that, but it's but I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't pay a great deal of money for the hat, but it was such a lovely hat when I got it, and I restored it. I thought, hang on a minute, this is beaver felt. This isn't rabbit felt. Wow. And then I started looking into it, and then I thought, hang on a minute, I've got to do some checking out here.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that it was a very rare color, now I wouldn't have known it was a rare color, because to me it looked nice, but I didn't realize it was that sort of subtlety in it. and when I saw that it hadn't been worn very much, I just thought, hey, this is something special. And of course, it turned out that actually the value of it was far higher than I thought. But not that that's irrelevant. I think the relevance was that it's a rare hat, and I thought, I think that would be lovely for you to take away and have in your collection, and just remember your trip, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was, like I said, you know, between Ian and I, and like I said, you know, the dopamine was hitting, and you know, it was just a lovely start to that day. And wow, I can't think of any way that day could have been better. It was just perfect. You know, and just the fact that we ended it off on, you know, at Lock & Co. Well, technically, you and I went to that art gallery afterwards, which was great. It was a lovely surprise.
Like, we didn't know we were going to end up there, did we? Now, I mean, it was quite that was quite quite an eye opener in Mayfair of London, in an art gallery with a load of youngsters. Which it was like, it felt like something out of the '60s. To be honest with you, they were looking at all this lighting and marveling over it, and all you and I were doing was looking for the beer. You know,
it's amazing, because I felt like I was back in New York, but you know, in a movie, because that just seems like something that would happen in a movie. Oh, so and so we went. We invited them over, and now they're here. And I'm like, for never would I once would have thought that I'd have that experience. And Paul, I don't know if that's your first time, but you know, definitely my first time. I don't know if that'll ever happen again, but we got to thank the fedoras for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know the attention we got. You know, you saw that it opened up doors, and people like the look, and you know, that's always appreciated. You know, because sometimes people can be quite anti. They think that you want to stand out, you want to be different, you want to do this, you want to do that. They don't get it, you know, and they don't get it because they've not been exposed to it, or actually, you know, had the challenges in life that they need to wear a hat. You know, but when you get a bit older and you lose your hair like myself, then you got to think, well, you know, what's the right thing to do? So you know, it's a choice that you don't have much of a choice to make.
And that just reminded me of the gentleman, the I'm gonna say he was a teenager, but the guy that went and shook all our hands, you know, and basically introduced themselves to us. I forget where we were at exactly, but that took me aback, because I was like, it was something that you and Ian had described in terms of like folks stopping you for a photograph, but when it actually happened, you're like, wow. When you're
in Covent Garden, I think we just come out of Stetson, because we actually met the owner of Stetson Europe, didn't we?
Right.
Yeah. You know, I was, you know, well, you know what, what was on my mind. We won't go there at the moment, but you know what I mean. It was like that was. I mean, look, I thought we were going to go in there and meet a guy that I knew, and this is the third time I've been in there now, and he's been off. I'm going to have to ring him next time and make sure he's going to be there. But no, that was pleasant talking to the guys in Stetson as well. We were coming out of there, and we were making a trip. I think we were going down to Covent Garden at that point. But look, we did I think it was about 16,500 steps.
Wow, I didn't check, but I'm not surprised, because it was tremendous. And again, it didn't feel like it, because we were just having such a great time. Like I said, everything with when stopping for the coffee, everything was just perfect. The fish and chips, obviously, we made good on that. I still owe Ian a pint, but at least I made good with you on the
nice.
pint.
That was
good.
And
wow, just perfect, Paul. I mean, I got to thank you and Ian, and I got to thank London, because you know, again, I knew it was a great city, but I was just over the moon, especially like I mentioned during our walk. As soon as I got up Piccadilly Circus, I got out there. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have a great time here.
Yeah, look, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think and it's nice to actually be able to walk around it with somebody that knows where to take you, because otherwise it can be daunting, like any city, not just London.
Right.
And with an interest like we've got, I mean, and I think also where Ian and I had gone, you know, I guess it was a couple of months earlier, 4 or 5 months probably 4 months earlier,
Yeah.
Ian and I had gone round to the shops, you know, to walk into the shops and be noticed. And there was do you remember the young lady in Laird, Mercedes?
Yes.
That was it, Mercedes. Yeah.
Yes.
She was very interested and keen to have a chat. So it was just
awesome.
nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just like I said, it was like it was meant to be, you know, like everything worked out, and like every shop was so welcoming, and it was very much akin to like what you guys described on your first trip when you guys went out. I was like, wow, it really is like everybody was happy to see us. Nobody rushed us and felt us like made us feel like we were imposing. It was just a fantastic experience, and you know, I got to think that for me, London's like one of those hat cities now that a lot of other cities are going to have a lot to live up to if they're going to want to compete with London. Because again, I know I'm inexperienced in terms of like doing hat tours, but that was well beyond what I even imagined I would have expected. And I can't wait to go back.
No, I think what I'm going to try and do is get some time up there to go around the department stores like Harrods, Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, just to see what their hat departments are like. Because you know, having done the shops that we've done, you know, go around to a few of those others and try and see what other options. Because in all fairness, in the UK, you know, those are the brands. I mean, there are one or two others. There are one or two other brands that are sort of lower down the scale, and I mean, Christie's, unfortunately, nowadays is considered sort of mid to lower, really.
Right.
And then there's others that predominantly deal in the wool based hats, as we know, which are the mass produced hats. And they are based around Manchester predominantly now, I guess, around Birmingham. But we did get a chance. I mean, do you remember the baseball caps in Hilditch and Kay? £500 for a baseball cap, a cashmere baseball cap. I mean, I came back to my wife and I said, I've got this wrong. I've got to invest in some baseball cap making.
You know, you might. Yeah, you might. Again, I know there's this whole idea of the counter trend, but sometimes you just got to go with the flow. If they're selling baseball caps for £500, well, you know, maybe you only sell them for £300, and you know.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but that was lovely. Do you remember they got the Panama hat out for you? That very special Panama hat.
That was amazing. The lightness, right? This was the ultra fino, I believe it was referred to, and I was just touched and also a little scared that he actually told me to take my hand out, because I'm like, all right, don't do anything stupid, Luke. You know, you're gonna come out with a bill for £30,000. But you have to really feel it.
Yeah, it took one person one whole year of their life to make each of those hats, and he had about 3 or 4 there. And I think there was one customer. Do you remember? He said to us, he didn't say who it was, of course, but one gentleman who had he bought 3.
What 3?
You know, 2 for each of his houses and 1 for his super yacht. I mean, that's almost £100,000 on 3 Panama hats.
Yeah,
now, you can't make that up, can you?
No,
like that's mad.
That's what I love. Again, I mentioned this on our walk, and I mentioned this in prior streams. You know, that money is not the root of all evil. Like people that are moneyed individuals, like Paul would say, you know, they can do some tremendous things, and they could provide support for a product that, you know, the casual person, the casual hat lover could not. And that product exists for clientele such as that have the means and really do want to surround themselves with the finest quality. And again, we benefited from that because we got to actually touch the thing, you know?
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you know, and you saw the statue of Beau Brummel as well. Do you remember in German streets, the main street where the fashion stores are and things. So yeah, I mean, it was a lovely opportunity, and you know, let's hope we can do it again sometime. But
absolutely, Paul. I mean, that was just tremendous, and obviously we had rumblings about doing a trip to Portugal to visit FEPSA. Maybe that's something that we can do, you know, in 2026. That would be a great trip. I mean, I'm tickled just at the idea of that. And obviously, as we get closer to making that happen, we'll coordinate on the group chat. And who knows, maybe we could do a little bit more of a formal. We can obviously just talk to the folks at FEPSA to see how comfortable they are in terms of making a little bit more of a production out of it. But if not, it's okay. Like I said, I'd be just fine touring the facility and then talking to those folks because
I think they're keen. I think they're keen. Look, they're a very big company. I think they employ about 400 people. Wow, and they've clearly got a lot going on. There are a few challenges in supply, which is what I've heard from various people that have bought from them in bulk for the UK. But I can only have good things to say about them because I've ordered off of their website, and it's taken 2 weeks to ship it. It's and arrive, and I mean that is amazing, really.
That is pretty amazing.
When I'm not a big buyer, I'm perhaps buying, I don't know, between 25 and 60 felts at a time. So not huge amounts at all. But I guess it's still significant, but not many. And yet they still have treated me with respect and well. So I think they've. I'll reach out to them again in January and see if we can get them on the show because they were happy to talk about it. So let's see what we can do.
That sounds great, Paul. Paul, I want to thank you. I know I thanked you before, but I can never stop thanking you for all the time and the wisdom that you shared on stream and also off stream, and all the time that you spent with myself. And just like I said, it's one of the major wins here is not just our relationship, but also the relationships that you've crafted with Ian and just with everybody else that has been part of this channel. It really has been probably the biggest win in my mind, because for me, people and people helping people, that you can't really put a price tag on. Obviously, you're in business at some point. I've talked about potentially, starting something, like a website or something to sell some goods. I'm planning to make that happen in 2026. But obviously, there's nothing wrong with making a buck or a pound. But at the same time, we do value people, and I think that's what we've seen throughout this conversation and throughout our interactions with these organizations and these shops has been that customer service is still alive and well. The emphasis on the customer in customer service and the service is still alive and well, even though if you kind of read and you kind of go through your day to day when you're dealing with a lot of these corporate monoliths, yes, their customer service can be a little waning. But it really does, like, this renewed my faith in the fact that customer service is alive and well, and it is valued by organizations that really truly care.
I think you make a good point because I wonder whether that goes along with the fact that wearing a formal hat, a trilby, a fedora, or whatever, has got sort of traditional values with it. It's got history and so on, and I wonder whether the service levels, and I mean, look, when we went into most of those shops, those hat shops, the people that were serving were formally dressed. They were either jacket and slacks, or they were actually a suit. They were in empathy with their client in terms of what they were wearing, and so that you immediately felt, I think, at ease and well covered and respected. And I think that's probably partly to do with the tradition of it's a bit like when you go in to buy a suit and have it measured or adjusted, or I guess a pair of shoes, although I've not done that before. But you get treated in a certain way, and I guess that's the same. Certainly from my perspective, I wanted to create a scenario when dealing with clients, and most of them, it's their first experience to have a hat that's made for them. But explain to them what the process would be. Explain to them that there's maybe 20, 25 points that I need to discuss about the hat to get the specification right for them, to understand what they're going to use it for, and so on. And then take them through 3 or 4 meetings on the Zoom call, etc. And then once they get it, I'm still a bit like what's his name? Robert was saying that he's always got the butterflies that when he's made a hat that it arrives and it actually fits, and we're all the same. You know, I'm the same, and so we'll see. But I think did Nathan Tuck reached out to you, didn't he, and say he's got
yes, that's right. I have to follow up. I promise to follow up. I will, Nathan. If you're watching this, I will follow up. I've not forgotten. I think I'm getting a little lost in the holiday sauce. But I think as I start reacclimating back into the into the social media, I will make sure, because I believe he wants to do some unboxings, and hopefully that's not we can still do that. But if not, then we can come up with another idea to get you on, Nathan. Like I said, it doesn't have to be just that idea, but I do like that idea because I really love again, I love the idea of unboxing. I don't think we've had it done in the show yet.
Don't know, but he's been a great supporter of myself and a very, very valued client. So a customer, and but anyway, we'll follow that up. But yeah,
that sounds good to me. I mean, Nathan, thank you for your support. Nathan had some very nice things to say about the channel and obviously about your work, Paul. And I obviously as a fellow client, I can concur 110%. And it's one of those things where I think that 2026, I know 2025 has been a good year for you, Paul, but I think 2026 is going to be even better. And I hope that I can assist in any way I can, with the channel and with just interacting and essentially offering my ideas, because I know you've helped this channel tremendously. We wouldn't have been half as successful as we've been if it wasn't for your time and your effort, Paul. So I just want to make sure you knew that I was thankful for that.
Well, maybe I know that you've got a hat as a giveaway at your 100th, your 100th follower and subscriber. Sorry, maybe you and I have a chat about the next goal that you want to achieve in the channel, and then maybe if it's all right with you, we can talk about I can perhaps make somebody a custom hat, and we could go through the process with their agreement, obviously, but go through the process and put it on one of the videos or something.
That sounds wonderful.
I think as much as anything, I just enjoy having a chat with mates about hats. How soft is that? But it's all right. It's cool.
That's tremendous, Paul. That's great. Thank you so much for offering that. And I definitely there's a no lose. That's no lose for anybody involved.
Well, I love it. So well, look, I'm gonna have to rush, I think, to catch up with the family and make ready for the holidays. And all I'd like to do is wish you and everybody that's supported you, and if you don't mind, everybody that supported me throughout this last year. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish them well for the festive season. Hope they get everything that they're looking for, and let's welcome them back in 2026, and let's share our hat goals for 2026. And they might be that you've seen a certain style, or you've seen a certain color, or you've seen whatever it might be. Let's share some of those things and ideas as we move forward.
Absolutely, Paul. Next week we have I believe it's the 30th. So maybe we can do that if everybody's available. If nobody's available, that's okay. We'll figure it out. But I love that idea. Thank you, Paul. Merry Christmas to you and to your entire family. Thanks again for showing me such a great time. And then we'll see you at the next one.
Super. Thanks very much. Bye for now.
See you, Paul. Bye. All right, Paul John Murphy, ladies and gentlemen, that was. Man, again, I couldn't think of too many more folks that have been as responsible for the success on this channel as that man. Obviously, it's been, a group effort, right? So we've had so many good folks on here: Josh, Ian, Morgan, Robert, Brian, Steve Heck, and Brad Bowers, and hopefully I didn't forget anybody there. You guys have all kind of chipped in in making this channel the success that it's been. And you know, I'm gonna say it's a success. You know, I mean, again, the numbers aren't huge, but that's okay. The numbers aren't how I measure success of the channel. Like I said, this channel has made me want to keep producing content, and it has kept me motivated and kept me kind of more in line with this hobby. Like if that's not a success, I don't know what is. You know, you know, I did a running count. I got about 60, I think 60 live shows. This might be number 61. You know, I might have like miscounted somewhere there, but it's close to that if it's not exactly that. So that's, you know, we started in August. I mean, that's a good number of shows. You know, that's about 28 hat chats. We had 2 pyramid streams and about 15 Hat Tuesday and Fedora Friday shows a piece since August. That's quite a bit of viewership time that you guys have supported me with, and on my part has been, you know, trying to create content for you guys that you guys want to see. You know, and again, if I was by myself, I probably would have given up. Who knows? You know, so you guys have all helped me out. You know, not just those folks that I mentioned, but also you guys, the viewers, whoever's been viewing the channel, you know, the channel, and has been saying some nice things on Facebook. I really appreciate that. Don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. I try to answer all the comments I can. Sometimes I miss a few. But if you're connected with me on Facebook, if you're connected with me on Instagram or X or whatever other platform that I happen to be on, you know, and you say, you know, you give me feedback, even if it's feedback that I, you know, is like not the most positive feedback, I try to take it in stride, you know, and try to improve the channel, you know, and I will. That's part of the goal for the content, is to improve the content. But even before improvement, I just want to keep making the content, right? Because I'm still having fun with this. You know, I'm still having a blast traveling, you know, to meet folks like Paul and like Ian. You know, obviously we talked about the trip to visit FEPSA in Portugal, and there'll be other trips, I'm sure, you know, hat related and otherwise, that I want to do while I still am able-bodied, you know, and you know, and I'll invite you to that journey, right? I mean, I may not always video from those, you know, from those locales, right? I don't think I videoed once from London, but I did share some photos for folks that follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'll continue doing that. You know, the only reason that I don't like video more is, besides Wi-Fi, is just that I like to be in the moment, right? You know, if you're watching something and you're like experiencing a great interaction, the last thing I want to do is pull out my phone or set up a laptop or do something like that, where kind of like, you know, this kind of just interferes, at least in my mind, right? Maybe I'm creating it all myself in my head, but it interferes. You know, case in point, I met a gentleman called Jules, who goes by Jules, and his Instagram is 0+1, and he's a great gentleman that I met in at Lock and Co during their little Christmas get together. And I had no idea I'd go and meet somebody like that, but it just happened to happen, you know, and at that moment. And the last thing I wanted to do is be like, you know, hey, let's go live. And, you know, because, you know, even though he is on social media, it just feels like I don't want to like add kind of an impediment, right? And have folks feel like every time Luke's around, he has to have, you know, his phone out or his laptop out or whatever. But I will like snap, you know, selfies and like pictures and do that. That way I can share with you guys and kind of let you in on part of the journey. So hopefully you guys will indulge me as I continue to try to navigate and come up with evolve this format, right? You know, it's been only, like I said, it's only been a little over 4 months. Like it'll be 5 months in January, I believe, since I started streaming. So hopefully you guys will keep rocking with me. You know, I just want you guys to focus on what you feel is most important during the holidays. For me right now, it's friends and family. Right. It almost always was friends and family for me. But now I have a bigger friend network thanks to this channel, right? So I have a lot more to be thankful for and to like kind of look after this holiday season. you know, as this channel grows and the blessings grow with it. So yeah, as Paul mentioned, I want to remind you that we are going to give away, you know, a hat once we hit 100 subscribers. You know, we're at 75, I believe now. Once that happens, I'll do a video on this, and then anybody that comments will be randomly, you know, on that video will be randomly selected, or randomly entered. Well, will be entered to be randomly drawn to win this hat, right? You guys know what I was trying to say. You know, it's not the prettiest hat, but you know, it is a very Christmassy looking hat to be in, a little alpine kind of colored. Has some moth bites, but again, that's something that you might be able to remedy. So it's a 7 1/4. You know, I just want to make sure that I start the process of giving, because that's one thing that I've learned, you know, over the course of time, is that it's better to give than receive. And I find that as the older I get, the more true that becomes. So stay tuned for that. Keep rocking with the channel, you know, support Paul, support Robert, support Brian, support Brad and Josh, and all the other folks that are affiliated with this channel, even the folks that are not necessarily affiliated with this channel. You know, support your fellow hat person in particular. You know, because, you know, we're a small community. We need that support. But you know where I'm going with this, right? Even if you don't support my channel, that's okay. I'll be fine. Like I said, you know, I understand. But the one thing you got to do, the one thing that's non-negotiable, or else I'll get a Krampus after you. All right. I think that's kind of a threatening. I don't know. That's maybe. Yeah, I'll get Krampus after you. Not to do anything harmful or anything like that. Maybe just to go boop and hit the subscribe button for you. But other than that, the one thing you got to do is stay hatting, my friend. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, everybody. Ciao.